So I've been sending out some vinyls this week, and some of them are iron-ons for backpacks and stuff. So I wanted to make a video to show you the correct way to put them on. So if you have trouble or questions, you can private message me and I can get back to you. And I'm also going to do another video on some on the fabric of a backpack. So if it gets messed up, kind of how to fix it, common mistakes. So what you will need is your decal that I have sent you in the mail. I've gone ahead and just stuck this one on here. It's just sitting on here. So as I've been sending them out, I've been sending it out on a piece of paper. And they're going to be taped to the paper because this is sticky, and you're going to want that stickiness to hold it in place for the iron. So I've kind of marked on my shirt where I want this. So this is where you really need to take your time to decide where you want this. So on a shirt, you can put it in the corner, in the middle. So if you're going to be putting it in the middle, do take the time to measure it out, make sure it is level. They do sell these nice little pens that are water soluble. So once you put this shirt in the washing machine, it will wash all away. It'll completely wash away. You will never see it again. So these come really in handy. If you are crafty and you happen to have one of these, get one out, make your marks. If you don't, I recommend either, like I did on this one, I don't know if you can tell, there's a tiny little black mark right here, and that is the center of my shirt. And then I did mark earlier the very center of my decal. So I went from complete edge of my letter to complete edge of my last letter, and I found the center, and then I marked on there, which you can't see it at the moment. But it ended up being right about here. So that tiny little mark I'm going to cover with my actual vinyl, so you'll never see it again. So if you don't have a fancy water soluble pen, it's okay. Just make a tiny little mark here on your vinyl and on your shirt, and then line it up and make sure that you are nice and level. So you will need a hot iron and also a piece of cotton cloth. Now if you don't have a cotton cloth just laying around, go grab another t-shirt, or in the very least, you can always flip your t-shirt inside out if you are doing t-shirts. If you're doing a backpack or a lunchbox, you can just use any t-shirt in your closet that's cotton. So that way, heat's not gonna hurt it. This just happens to be a scrap piece of fabric. So some of the vinyls I have found as I'm putting them on backpacks, it's really hard on a backpack because it's kind of bulky and kind of in the way, and it's hard to lay flat. A t-shirt lays nice and flat on an ironing board or on a countertop that's not going to be damaged by your iron. If you are putting your decal on a backpack, I recommend you could pin them. So this plastic transfer sheet, you can pin it directly wherever you need it. So just stick your pin in there. As soon as you get it to where you want it, your iron's not going to be bothered by them. I do recommend using the pins without the plastic, but as long as you're paying attention and you don't stick it directly under the iron, you should be fine. So I do recommend, if you're doing this on a backpack or a lunchbox and you're having an issue with the back of it's not sticky enough, this decal happens to be very large, so there's plenty of extra space that's nice and sticky. On a backpack, you might not have as much of this stickiness, and it might not stay very well. So pin it on. After the fact, you can lift up. When your decal's gone, you can lift up, and you might even see tiny little pin marks in your backpack. And if you take the tip of your pin and just slightly kind of fluff your fabric, then you can get rid of those pin marks. And daily wear is actually going to get rid of those pin marks anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy going. So I have found my center. I have laid it out all nice and neat. I have put it right where I want it and stuck it on. I don't need to pin this one, but if you do, don't feel bad about it. So my iron is on. Now on a cotton shirt, I can use the cotton setting on the iron. If you are doing backpacks or lunch boxes and they have this plastic stuff on the inside of it, you do not want to damage this, because then that nice clean wipeable surface, you might ruin it. So you want to make sure that if you are not doing a cotton thing, you're not setting your heat to cotton. I recommend going half setting. It may take a little bit longer, but you'll actually take care of your fabric. So this one will be fine. I'm going to just put my cotton over the top of it, turn my iron on. This one's already hot and ready to go. And because this decal is so large, I'm going to have to do it in sections. So I recommend starting in the very center, and you're going to just want to count to 15 or 20. So go ahead and count. You don't really want to be, especially on a larger decal, you don't want to be moving it around a whole lot. You want to put it on and you want to press and put a nice medium pressure. Don't go crazy. Don't strain yourself trying to get it on there. Just put nice even pressure down to adhere your vinyl to your fabric. So if you are doing this on a backpack or on a lunchbox or whatever other fabric you could be putting this on, I have sent instructions with it, and I've told you to preheat your fabric. It's very nice to do that if you are able to, because then your vinyl automatically has something that it wants to adhere to. Now, just like in this circumstance, I did not do that. And it's not the end of the world. It does help a little bit whenever you're trying to get something to stay on, but it's not absolutely necessary to get it to stick. So I do think that when you have a bigger vinyl, once you've kind of gone through, if you kind of move it over, you should not feel any bubbles. Your vinyl should not ever be able to move at this point on its own. Okay, so once you've done your ironing, you want to see, before you just rip this sucker off, you want to see and make sure that all of your letters and all of your numbers have stuck. So to do this, you very slowly pull from one corner in a diagonal motion. So you want to lift it up, and if you're having no problems getting it up, just keep pulling slowly. Keep pulling slowly. This one seems to have stuck pretty well on its first try. If you happen to have a pen or scissors or anything handy to see, and make sure, kind of feel around. If you can feel the edge of your vinyl, it's probably not stuck down very well. I don't feel anything that's loose on here. Oh, okay, so right here. You can kind of see how right here on the end, it didn't quite stick. I'm able to put this underneath it. You can see that it is not stuck to my fabric. And that's perfectly fine. It came off of my plastic good. So even if it is perfectly stuck and you don't have this mark, after you take your plastic transfer sheet off, you're going to want to put your fabric back on and go back over for about 10 seconds everywhere you've gone. And then anywhere in those little trouble spots, you want to hit those really well. You shouldn't have any problem kind of just going over the whole image at this point. It should be stuck very well. This is just to make sure that it is good and adhered. Okay, now we're going to check our image one more time. Make sure that little trouble spot is down, good and down. Shouldn't have any issues any longer. This will be hot, so be careful. Okay, so that is it. That is all you have to do. You throw this nice piece of sticky paper away, and you've got yourself a nice heat transferred vinyl.